especially once those BKBs tick down. If we even get to that point, it's going to be pretty scary. That's one thing the cut is lacking. Up until they get that Aghanim Scepter on the Bristleback, they do not have a Siege hero yet. So maybe Boris, thinking he's going to get a little bit more space in this game, maybe he's going to be able to push out those side lanes sort of for free. So this is a little bit of a risky strat, but they're double downing on the anti-armor versus the Bristles. So you can only think that TOOBASED have an idea of what their game plan is.
Yeah, and as you said, it just really feels like they're kind of going all in for that kind of strat, because you look at them right now, outside of the ABBA to maybe sort of shield him up and heal him up with the Mist Coil, the durability from this lineup is sort of exceptionally low. Maybe if the Slaughter is in a core role, then you get a little bit more on that front, but he's not really tanky in the conventional sense. So simply TOOBASED will have to be really the squad on the offensive. If they get sort of hit up first, then the mobility is maybe not going to be enough to keep them alive. And now we do see the cut coming in there for the Pangolier pick. So they're going to be potentially trying to catch some of these heroes off guard. That Rolling Thunder with the Pangolier is going to try to do a lot to disrupt even further some of the mobility from the TOOBASED side. The Wind Ranger and the PA really just going to have to try and maneuver their way through the fights, but they're also going to have to be sort of dancing around those Rolling Thunder stuns coming out as well.
Yeah, and I think now making the call with that Pango, probably going to be Tingle King Pango, Giant Hoodwink, move Pingu onto that position 5 Viper, which again is fine. We saw Kara playing it earlier today, is still able to get quite a lot out of the lane. If you ever do leave Monkeys alone, he is going to have a pretty bad time. At the same time, if they do end up getting pretty trade heavy, if Pingu can time the Nether Toxin right, you just stop that last bash from occurring. That could definitely play to Scourge advantage. And this is the second time I think we've seen them run this lane where you have both the goo and the poison attack. So whoever is going to that lane, and I think they need a flea hero. I think TOOBASED, or rather the cut with the Invoker ban, are making the call that this might be a 4 Wind, a 3 Slardar, because having the Wind versus the Viper, you can never undervalue that. Just having really just one skill to counter everything the hero wants to do, as well as Shackle just on paper being one of the best heroes versus a mobile heroes like the Viper. So we'll have to see how they end up shifting around. Invoker is definitely one of Ionite's best heroes, but we've also seen him just do so well on this Wind. It's a little bit of a hard call to make, and one that TOOBASED can really rely on having last pick. They can really run whatever they want up until that point, but it does feel like they need a flea hero. Wind, I'm sure he could play it. I'm sure he could do it very well, but it feels like something is missing from TOOBASED draft right now.
Yeah, it just feels like you could put Flea on someone maybe a bit more sort of lockdown oriented. Putting the Wind Ranger into that role certainly does still give you that roaming potential, but then you sacrifice quite a bit of the potential damage that the Wind Ranger could give you in Annihilate's hands. So as you said, really does feel like they're going to go in for Flea's hero here, but the cut, they're not really buying into that. Invoker and Batrider bans in Phase 3, so they're still fairly convinced that it's going to be some sort of mid option here with that final pick, but we'll have to wait and see. Final bans coming through on both sides. Simply TOOBASED also taking away some mid heroes. Ember and Queen of Pain banned away before the cut will grab themselves the Void Spirit.
Yeah, and I think as soon as you see that Quap ban, it's pretty easy to make this Void Spirit call. If this is going to be an Annihilate mid lane hero that they're trying to pick up on the TOOBASED side, we could be seeing the Storm Spirit. We see the Storm versus Void Spirit matchup still pretty frequently in pretty much all of Dota. One guy tries to get the Yules, the other tries to get the Orchid. Everybody clashes around that 15-minute mark. And no, Snapfire. Is this going to be Flea's hero?
Oh, no.
No, they are going to run it mid. Okay. The Snap is very good versus the Void Spirit mid. You just have a little bit too much magic damage, and she trades, honestly, incredibly well. If you're able to get that Bracer up pretty early after the bottle, you just do so much physical damage. So, honestly, I like it. They don't have that much lockdown for the kisses, so that's something they do need to be careful of, but with mid snap, the kisses really are just the icing on top. It really is just having that max cookie and scatter blast at like 9-10 minutes. That's when the hero really feels sort of disgusting. So we'll have to see. Also, one of the best heroes versus Viper and Bristleback. You're just always a little bit too far out of reach. And sure, once they get on top of you, maybe you're in a little bit of trouble, but we always see those Snapfires go for Boots of Travel into the Blink Daggers. So I like it, and this is a much different hero than Ionite has played previously. Usually we see him on those sort of mid 1.5 very heavy farm set heroes. So this is someone who is going to farm a lot, but you just farm so fast that it doesn't feel like you're going to be taking too much from Boris. So I like two base lineup a lot.
Yeah, it feels like they've gone for something, yeah, maybe a little bit unconventional, at least for them. As you said, we haven't really seen Annihilate on that mid Snapfire all that much, but other teams have certainly been running it in recent times. But I don't know, it feels pretty good here. And to be honest, sort of the biggest concern you were talking about with the Snapfire, if those enemy heroes get it onto you, sure, you're in some trouble, but if you're in that kind of situation, you would assume that Flea and Jubei would be there to sort of help out, and with the defensive power of Jubei and then the sort of lockdown coming out from that Wind Ranger, it feels like the majority of the time that snap is going to be maybe not completely safe, but at least in a situation where you can either fall back or try to turn around. So it feels like they've got themselves a pretty solid setup here. We'll see just how well the lane sort of works out for them.
Well, and at the same time, you do need to be pretty careful on the cut just because you have this Pangolier, if he's able to have a pretty nice lane. It's a little hard to think. Man, the voice lines are just too strong. But Tingle King will be able to get something done in this game. Unfortunately, versus anti-armor, Pangolier is one of those heroes that really hates it, even though the shield crash is that damage reduction. When you have negative 15 armor, you are still just going to get popped. And that's something that the PA is very well equipped to do. You can sort of play on the edges of those fights, choose your engagements, and that's where this Hoodwinked might fall short, even though, again, you have that very key break versus PA, so it should feel pretty good, but there really isn't that hero to get on top of Boris aside from that Void Spirit. So pretty similar to that last series, it feels like a lot of the pressure coming out on the map is going to be relied upon by those mid laners. And if Red 2, if we see another Spirit get shut down, the team is going to sort of implode, because if you get those a few too many levels across the map, once you hit level 6, then Bristle needs to go. He needs to change up lanes because the PA is going to show up with a Blightstone and going to take your tower. And if you stay, probably going to take your life, because they are going to play very fast on the two base side. That's something that their lineup really is good at. Maybe they start peeling off a little bit once you are able to get that BKB on Boris. You do need to sort of farm up, respect that timing once you get the Yules on that Void Spirit. But aside from that, even the Snapfire, you have that little Shredder. The anti-armor is just insane on two base side.
It just feels like if they really start sort of going downhill towards you, they're not really going to stop. They're just going to be able to run at the cut, and they're going to have to sort of manage. They don't really have any means of just sort of nullifying that armor reduction right now, so it would get a little bit rough for them as we get this game underway. Second series of the day getting started. Another elimination one from that lower bracket as we start things off looking at the bottom lane here. That PA going to be really playing a large role here. Very interested to see exactly what Boris goes for in terms of the itemization. You mentioned TOOBASED maybe could try to pick things up a little bit early, so I want to see if the PA just sort of goes for that Battle Fury play, or if we see maybe something a little bit faster. I don't really know. Most of the time it seems like the PA is sort of set into that Battle Fury build, but I'll have to wait and see exactly what Boris queues up here. But right now, he and Flea are just sort of trying to trade damage right now. Tingle King and Giant not really looking to get too aggressive, but once the point's up in the Bushwhack, then maybe we could see them go for a little bit more. Bushwhack into Swashbuckle would kind of put these heroes in a little bit of danger early.
Yeah, and they do need to be pretty cautious here. Again, you always have that wind run, so really right-click wise, it's not going to be the biggest issue. Tingle King probably won't be able to get any kills going his way up until you get that Orb of Corrosion. Then these heroes might feel a little bit more threatened, but even Giant getting the Acorn shot. And for the second time here, they have completely killed all of the trees. So this is something that they did before, I believe, versus the Broodmother instead. So just not giving her any place to move around. At the same time now, Giant doesn't have a Bushwhack target. He's going to need to use the Acorn shot first. And I think if he ever has to play like that, he's just not going to have enough damage.
That's a bit unfortunate for them. And now you really only have a couple of sort of options. As you said, the Acorn shot could come in. They have to either wait for the trees or maybe try to push the lane further forward so they can go to these trees down here. The problem is, if you're doing that, then Tinkle's got to go pretty far forward for his last hit, so they wouldn't want to really mess up the equilibrium at that point just to go for a Bushwhack play that probably wouldn't get them a kill, as we do see Giant go for the play there, but really not much follow-up. Flea's just going to hold the Wind Run as well, really not recognizing that as too much of a threat. So Just feels like, for now, they could have been sort of taken out of that early timing window. Maybe once they pick up further levels later on and those trees start respawning, they could do a little bit more. But for now, this lane's really just going to kind of slow down. Boris and Tingle King just really looking for the last hits across these first couple of minutes. So, shouldn't be seeing too much out of them. Meanwhile, up in the top lane, kind of feels like a similar situation here. I don't know how much Monkeys can realistically do to Scourge. We do see Jubei sort of coming in for the occasional mist coil, but it really doesn't feel like there's a whole lot of potential here, especially with Pingu just sort of sitting back behind that Bristleback and almost daring someone to come forward. If they do, he's got 2 points up in the poison attack, and now we see him sort of stacking it up. There's going to be the Nasal Goo as well, and he's just so slow here, but there's Jubei to bail him out. The Thodic Shield comes through, removes all of those debuffs, and Monkeys will simply walk away.
Yep, and this is why they picked up this Abaddon. There's not really much that the matchup can do for that Viper, and Abaddon, one of the best heroes versus that Bristleback. Not saying they shouldn't have picked it, but something that they definitely need to be cautious of. But they've made this play not knowing that Jubei is kind of left here, and yeah, Monkeys will just have to TP to his tower. So they were able to place a ward, but it was also in the Cut's vision, so you are getting these 4-minute bounty runes away from Red 2, but still feels a little bit bad, I think, for Monkeys, but there wasn't a pull happening, so he will be able to get some of this XP at the very least, but he is going to struggle to walk up to these waves whenever Jubei does head out to do other things across the map.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the Ring of Health, but there's only so much that can really do if you're going up against both of these heroes sort of at the same time, so they're going to have to play it safe while Jubei's gone. He is pushing his way back in now, though, so Monkeys should be okay, although no, they've deployed the shield, but those poison attacks are getting sort of reapplied. So Monkeys going to be a little bit careful here. Pingu is starting to run out of mana, though, so not really sure how much longer he can keep this going, although he is sitting on 2 mangoes. So if he really does want to go all in for this one, if they see an opportunity, they could give it a go, but Scourge would rather not. He's farming up incredibly well in this lane, 24 and 8 so far, so I don't really think he wants to do too much to try and jeopardize that, especially since they're not actually guaranteed to get that kill. So feels it wouldn't really be worth the effort and the sort of lack of last hits to go in onto a Slardar who's still going to be able to just sort of hit him up with the crush and walk away if they push in.
And really, it's just so efficient. He's just sitting there, getting stick charges, sitting behind Monkeys, healing it up. And you're always going to be more efficient coming out from the Abaddon. Your spells just cost a little bit less mana for what you get. If you use 5 poison attacks, it's, what, 5 times 22 EU math? That's like 140 mana. Basically an Aphotic Shield, a little bit more than an Aphotic Shield, so you're always going to be sort of behind the trade. So really that's when Pingu, I think, might look to rotate around, might look to sort of get things done elsewhere, because the Slardar, once you hit level 6, again, Scourge is going to start to struggle. This isn't one of those auto-win lanes where you hit level 6, you have the Warpath, and then the enemy offlaner needs to be afraid of you. He's not a Centaur where you're just going to very easily be able to bully him. He's got 7 armor and 65 damage. The Slardar is definitely just going to sit here and fight you.
And Haste Rune actually spawning on the opposite side of the river from where both Annihilate and Red 2 have been sort of moving towards. So they should be held by TOOBASED. Jubei's kind of keeping an eye on it, but Annihilate feels like he wants to push the lane out a little bit before he actually just goes straight in for that rune. So he is going to be sort of backing away here. But once again, see Jubei step out of lane. Monkeys is going to get pushed back. They can't really fully threaten him, but they're at least able to try and take a little bit more control.
They saw him use the step.
Yeah, mid. They want in. Red 2, very little mana. 1 Astral Step Charge remaining, but look at those TPs. Giant is in. Second TP will be canceled, but at that point, I think really just the 1 from Giant was what they needed. TOOBASED. It was worth a shot there. Not going to be able to make it happen, but they can at least try and sort of harass that Void Spirit as they do send him all the way back to base.
Yeah, and Pingu is gonna cancel his own TP, wants to stay top, but it's the disjointed play where even though Giant is very simply able to take over the wave, going to be able to get a little bit of XP, it still feels like you're making these forcing moves, not really expending anything on the TOOBASED side, and really maybe we'll see Annihilate get a little bit more active once he has his Boots of Travel, or maybe with his level 6, but they have to sync it up pretty nicely. And actually, he's going to come top as soon as the Slardar pops his level 6. So this is a pretty clean move here. There aren't boots on the Slardar, unfortunately. And he is, I think, 2 XP off his level 6. So this might get a little bit hairy, but we'll have to see. This is the punishment. This hero is very good. He needs to find the cookie, though. And I think they spotted him.
Yeah, they see him. Scourge is going to get away. Pingu presumably will be the new target. They're going to jump in onto him. There's going to be the Cookie Stun into the Mortimer Kisses, so Pingu will be taken down. First Blood will go their way, but they don't deal with Scourge, and now there's an angry Bristleback coming at them. I Annihilate very wisely. He's going to TP himself back home, so they obviously would have preferred to get in onto the Bristleback there. Scourge is able to sort of backpedal before they can reach him, but they do still get first blood. But now here comes Red 2 in for the fight. Going to throw down that Remnant onto the Abba, but Monkeys, good stomp, or stun rather, excuse me, onto 2. Hitting them both up with the Crush, and I don't know if you want to chase that much further. He still doesn't have his boots. It's coming out to him now, but he is a little too slow to actually turn that one all the way around. But he got first blood. The boots are in his inventory now, so all things considered, that goes pretty well for TOOBASED, and now you see I Annihilate actually back to the middle lane before the Void Spirit, so he was able to get maybe a little bit more experience up on his sort of direct counterpart.
Yeah, and it feels like the cut, they over-rotated a little bit there, and that's something that you need to be careful of. And again, they're in a stand-in situation. They don't have their full squad here, but during all of that time, Red 2 gave the mid-wave over the Giant, and Giant, I'm sure, will happily take it. But if you're not able to leverage the Spirits, we already saw what a shutdown Spirit looks like earlier today. So in a lane that he already is going to sort of struggle in because the Resonant Pulse doesn't really help him at all versus the Snapfire, you just see him getting clicked. But this has got to be maybe the second or third time he's out of bottle charges. He has a bounty room this time, but you just aren't able to make plays. And that's where he needs to really decide, am I going to use my mana to farm up? Am I going to try to make plays and set up elsewhere on the map? And it's that sort of decisiveness that is really going to set these players apart, where maybe TOOBASED is able to get away with a little bit too much just because they're farming. They do not care. They're going to finish off these Boots of Travel on the Snapfire. Slardar's going to get, I think he's got a hood, so Blink is going to be a little bit later down the line. But this is all time for Boris to finish off that Battle Fury.
Yeah, it just feels like, as of right now, all of 10 minutes in, but still, it feels like simply TOOBASED sort of have an exact idea of what they want to do, whereas the cut are trying to make adjustments, but as you said, they haven't really taken that decisive action just yet. They haven't made a clear decision on, do we try to fight our way back into this, or is this just a sort of fall back and farm up kind of scenario? So until they make that kind of decision, it feels like they're going to have sort of one foot in both camps, and it's not going to go great for them, although as I say that, Monkeys briefly jumped in on the bottom lane. Tingle, I don't know about this one. You're starting to run out of time, and I don't think you have the damage to finish that kill. So yeah, he'll use the last moment or two of that Rolling Thunder to just fall back. But I think that's the first Rolling Thunder we've seen in this game, and Tingle gets very little out of it. That's going to be sort of one of your more important heroes and initiations now, especially with Red 2 sort of struggling the way that he is. That Pango has got to be able to get the team into fights.
And that's something that TOOBASED have done incredibly well, to be honest. They haven't let sort of the laning stage end. They're forcing it to stay alive. That's something that this Hood of Defiance on the Slardar indicates. And this is exactly what you want with a PA, because very simply, Boris is able to take over a lane. The cut are still trying to figure out their hero combinations. How do we end up killing this PA? And again, if Tingle King isn't careful about his Rolling Thunders, that's really the best playmaking skill you have. And now Red 2, he's going to rotate down here. They can definitely kill Monkeys if they get this 3-hero heavy set rotation, but you look at the other side of the map, and we saw it in that similar series with Infamous, where you see TOOBASED, they're playing in 2 lanes at once, where the cut, they're forced to play in 1, and it's something. They're making a play and doing really all they can on the map, but you're just going to immediately rotate out on the Slardar, and it feels like TOOBASED, they're just up the exchange right now.
Bit of an attempt on a Pingu there, as they threw the cookie onto a creep. The power shot came through from Flea, but they're not really willing to dive all the way into that tier 2 tower to actually go for that. So they're just going to try and keep Pingu locked down for now, just sort of force him to stay up in this lane. And elsewhere on the map, Monkeys is farming up and pushing this lane out a little bit as well. I don't think he's going to get the opportunity to go for the tower, as Scourge will make his way over, but now...
Oh, he almost broke the smoke. They see him. They don't feel confident enough to kill him. They don't think they got it.
Tingle could just honestly go in with the Rolling Thunder. They could give it a go, but as you said, they don't really feel confident enough to go all in for that. So, I mean, obviously something could always go wrong, but that would have been 4 heroes in onto Monkeys alone under his tier 1 tower. If you're not going to get that kill, then I'm not really sure what better opportunities you're going to be able to find immediately, but they decide they don't want to go for it. Instead, they're just going to sort of back away, and at the end of the day, Scourge is still farming here, so your Bristleback is sort of sitting in a solid spot. It's just that the other cores are maybe not quite in a similar position, but they
And
are going in on the
Jubei
Jubei.
might be dead here. Try to deny. And again, it's only one death, one kill on each side, right? This isn't the fastest game by any means, but you just have all of these heroes that are sort of farming uncontested, and if they're able to get this kill on Fleet top, it will feel pretty nice. But actually, Boris,
That is a
he
much more
walked in a
valuable
really
kill.
weird way. Okay.
Yeah, as
He
you
was,
said.
I don't know, yeah, that was really weird.
Weird's the only word I have to describe it. I'm not entirely sure what happened. Just kind of almost did a double take and then walked back the wrong way. And the cutter at least able to sort of make him pay for it. That's a big kill. It slows down that Battle Fury as honestly the PA was not right on the verge of finishing it off, but only one component remaining. So the longer you can sort of stall that one out, the better off obviously you're going to be for the cut. And to a certain extent, I mean, that's part of how you're going to be able to get ahead. That was not really a planned play to run into Boris, but the opportunity falls into their lap and they take advantage of it.
And it's those little tick-ups that matter so much when you have timing-based heroes. Of course, the Bristleback wasn't getting involved there, but he's stacked for himself. He's going to take another triple stack in the Ancients. He's having a pretty good time. And if you're able to keep this laning phase going, you've got to feel pretty good on the 2-base side, because right now, the cut, they're gearing up for something big. Right now, you have that Blink Dagger on Tingle King. You're still pretty far away with the Yule Scepter coming out from the Void Spirit, but you have two components, and then you have this Bristleback Ags. And I think Scourge, man, he gets a faster Ags. He gets a faster timing on all of his heroes, I feel like, every single day. And Pingu top, I mean, the trades are there, but I Annihilate.
Okay.
I think he's fine, but yeah, they got to be careful.
Sharpshooter comes out, but it really just hits onto the Abba. So Jubei's there to sort of bite that bullet for his teammates, but Red 2 is kind of positioning himself like he wants to go back in, and maybe they can get onto Jubei, but that's going to be the ult pop to Annihilate. Thought about it. Scatterblast will not be used, though, as 2-base are going to be able to back themselves off. So, I mean, they burn through the borrowed time. I mean, it's not really a massive cooldown, but they at least take it away, but I don't know if there's really going to be an immediate opportunity to take a second fight before that ability would be sort of back up anyway, but they can at least give it a shot as I Annihilate. Okay, he wanders back in. That... Wow, that just felt too greedy. I don't really know.
And it's a really good ward, right? They place it after they kill Boris to scout if he's going to walk towards that small camp, I can only imagine. But again, while you lose the Snapfire, he's got fantastic farm. He has a Blink Dagger. Boris is, what, 200 gold away from his Battle Fury? The only thing I'm concerned from, if I'm 2-based, is this Bristleback has not made any appearances yet. We haven't seen him sync up with the carts. We haven't seen him push in on any of your towers yet. But I feel like Scourge is completely justified in doing so, because you look at his farm and he is very, very, very close to that Aghanim Scepter. After maybe one more set of neutral creeps, they're going to get more aggressive and hopefully... Ooh. Red 2, nice dodge.
Tingle coming in, hitting onto Annihilate. Tingle wants in.
He's dead again.
Gonna jump their way forward. Annihilate, yeah, he's not getting out of this. He just has no way out. Jubei's gonna try, but it's not gonna be enough. Annihilate will still fall. Meanwhile, Tingle's gonna keep on going, and Red 2 comes in there with the Resonant Pulse for the kill. Now they're in onto Jubei as well, but there's gonna be that borrowed time popped once again. So he gets away, but if you're the cut, 2 more kills going your way. It is looking pretty good for them, and now Scourge is gonna start getting involved here, pushing out that tier 1 tower with his teammates, and that Axe is pretty much done. He's got about, what, 100, 200 gold to finish it off, and then really this Bristle becomes incredibly hard to deal with. He's just going to be able to sort of push his way into just about any fight he wants with that Ags upgrade.
And how clean a rotation is that? You kill the Snapfire on the rune because I Annihilate thinks that I'm still sort of king of the map. I'm feeling pretty good on the Snapfire, and then he goes down and, oh no, monkeys. They're just getting picked off everywhere.
Positioning here for Simply 2-base is just sort of taking a bit of a dive in recent time. They're just getting caught out in the most inconvenient of places, really, in the cut. I mean, all credit to them. They're just hunting those heroes down, and now Scourge, look at that. Look at these
Another
stacks.
Stack. Yep.
Oh boy, that's going to be a whole lot of gold for him. Ags is already finished off, and what's he want next? The S and Y into AC build for him. So Scourge.
Tingle?
going to be so tanky. And
He's
Tingle,
gonna
yeah,
need a
he's
blink.
pushing. Nice blink forward onto Flea. But they
Oh, he
need
messed up.
another
He got
hit.
caught there a little bit.
Not going to be able to get it. So Flea should walk away. Yeah, Tingle didn't quite get the angle on that one, but going to push your opponents back. And now here comes Scourge making his way forward, just looking to keep the momentum going. The cut up by 2K, and now moving their way into the west side jungle. I don't know if they actually catch anyone, though. TOOBASED should know this rotation's coming through, and they are starting to pull back.
The
But
Yule Scepter, though, on Void Spirit.
Annihilate.
Ooh, he's got to search for him. He's still got another disable. Let's see.
Looks like the snap is getting away for now. Oh, maybe not. The pings are coming out.
He's got blink in one, but oh no, he got greedy.
There's going to be the swashbuckler if they throw down the Viper Strike from Pingu as well. That's an interesting TP attempt, and actually it kind of got closer than I thought it would, but in the end, Red 2 still able to find the kill as the Snapfire will be taken down, and the Cut are really starting to get themselves going. 8-2 in terms of that kill count. We were tied at 1-1 for quite a while in this match. They've really been able to go on the offensive here, and TOOBASED have not been able to respond. They've not been able to keep themselves safe.
No
and right
more.
on cue. Can he get out? He's going to get slowed up there and hit now by the Bushwhack as well, so he is just straight up dead. Tingle in with the kill and the cut. I mean, this is absolutely fantastic play from them. They are hitting every single play that they need as Jubei is going to get himself jumped in on. He'll at least take away that regen rune so Tingle won't be able to grab it, but now he's stuck in the river. This Rolling Thunder is just going to continuously stun him up, and that will now pop the ult. The Yule Scepter is going to keep him in place. They pull him back in with the Remnant as well, and Jubei, I mean, that's really all he was going to be able to do.
Roche, this is like really good from the cut. They just hit their timing. They hit every single item that they needed, and this is what Ego Boys were missing in that last series, where maybe because of the lanes, because of their individual play, everything felt a little bit staggered, but TOOBASED, they get a little bit too confident. They maybe get a little bit cocky here, and now the cut, they're just going to start running at you. And really, with the little items they've been able to amass, they've been making so many plays with the Blink Dagger on the Pango, with the Yule Scepter on the Void Spirit, and they're setting up to try and kill the Snapfire top. And what we have not seen. Oh, they found him.
They got it.
Giant.
Won't
oh,
hit,
he missed the Bushwhack.
He missed the Sharpshooter as well. I know, it's just going to TP away, so.
That's still crazy from Giant, but yeah, unfortunately they weren't able to get the kill. But when's the last time we saw Mortimer's Kiss go off? It feels like really you had that laning phase extended to what, 11, 12 minutes, where Boris was able to not really worry about any of his towers or giving up anything. And now you look at his positioning now, the only reason he can stay here is because there's a ward. Your PA is not farming. She's kind of trapped here. This is feeling really strange coming in from TOOBASED.
Oh. Tingle gets the vision down. Boris
is gonna
have to try and get away,
Boris
but there's
gone.
going to be the Rolling Thunder. He can't even try for the TP here. Tingle and Red 2 are right onto him. It's a good attempt, but it's not quite going to work out. Essence Ring will be popped. That's still not going to matter. Red 2 gets the kill, and this is the single best start we've seen from the cut so far. They were able to win some games in the group stage, but in all of those wins, it felt like they had to sort of weather the storm and eventually sort of power up in the sort of late game stage. This time, they're the squad on the aggressive. We just haven't seen this kind of early offensive firepower from them throughout really the entirety of this event so far, but it's all coming together for them. They're pushing a tier 2 tower right now. This is some incredible stuff for them, and now they're pinging out monkeys. They want to rotate their way down there. Are they actually going to be able to make this happen, though? The Sardar has a blink.
Don't really think so, but they got Glyph. They're just gonna completely run at your towers. They're just gonna reset. They could do top, air, or mid and bottom at the same time. Well, yep, you see Giant already. TOOBASED, they are making the calls they need to, aren't letting themselves get caught. I think one hero actually, yeah, Tingle King decided to cancel his TP, wanting to stick around, stay bottom, and now the script is flipped. Now you're seeing them playing in 2 lanes at the same time, and what is the Cut's response? They're trying to kill Giant, and looks like they might get him, maybe not. He juked it out. Oh, okay, there we go.
Scatterblast in for the kill. Nice play from Annihilate. The problem is they're losing their tier 2 tower elsewhere on the map, and Giant for a tier 2 is going to be a trade that the Cut are going to be very much happy with. So your Hoodwink just sort of offers herself up as the sacrificial lamb there, and elsewhere on the map you are making the most of that and finding objectives. And now Red, he TP'd in. Flea's going to get hit up by the Yule Scepter. There's going to be the 8th Remnant in as well that assimilates there for the damage, but needs a little bit more, and I think he's got it. The Astral Step comes through, and yeah, Tingle was even coming in just in case, but his presence not actually needed. Red 2 will find the kill. Meanwhile, what is going on mid? Scourge This man just
He's
doesn't.
just, yeah.
He knows no fear.
Aegis still.
I have an Aegis, what are you
Oh,
going to do
Jubei.
about it, basically? And the answer is nothing. Yeah, Jubei just has to run. That is a sad life there for the Abba, just unable to get himself away. Scourge knocks him down, and now he's even stronger. He just finished off an SNY.
Yeah, and this is a cut that we have not seen. This was honestly the same draft as we saw in that D2 Hustlers game where they were able to get a little bit more aggressive. I think pretty similar heroes as well, but this time it really feels like they're firing on all cylinders. We're not seeing anybody on their team fall behind, and yeah, Monkey's, he's sort of having to just die here, and there's a BKB up on the PA, but he does not care. This is double BKB, so this is their timing, but I don't think they're even going to be able to kill him once.
Yeah, they got onto Pingu, so that is going to be a kill, and your PA doesn't actually pop her BKB there, but you can't really do anything about Scourge right now, and that's a problem. Pulled in by the Remnant, hit up by the Bushwhack, the Sharpshooter's coming. Boris, though, that was
nice
close.
blink.
Phantom strike away, but he's still in trouble. There's the BKB. Finally going to be forced out, but now Boris, your BKB's active, but you're on about half HP. Really, this is not a fight that he's going to be able to take. They have to back off, but Tingle doesn't want to let him go. Pushing forward with the Rolling Thunder into his opponent's base, but at a certain point he realizes he's running out of time. You don't want to be sort of stuck in the base without any means of getting out. So he blinks himself away at the last second, and Cut to back themselves out. They lose Pingu, but they're able to get a kill into Monkeys, and Scourge, there's no answer for this man right now. 14,500 net worth. The Bristle is so tanky, and he had the Aegis to fall back on, and really there's nothing TOOBASED could do. But now the Aegis will be timing out, so maybe Scourge takes a bit of a step back in terms of how aggressive he wants to be, but I can't imagine it's actually going to be by all that much.
Boris on bottom.
Yeah.
He doesn't have Yules or roll, but still, Giant's coming. Oh, Boris has got a juke hard, but I think with red too. Don't tell me. Okay.
Wow.
They dove a little bit too deep. Wow, that is pretty wild that he's able to get out there, but isn't the worst play, isn't the best play, but still, Aegis at least was reclaimed on Scourge during all of that, but man, he's getting his items so much faster than anyone else, and Monkeys?
Oh boy.
Got it. He has Blink. Yeah.
Blink's gonna get him out of trouble, but I believe they've just caught the Abba. No, they have not. He TP'd out just in time, so Jubei will fall back. Monkeys gets away, and TOOBASED are able to sort of dodge a bullet there, but they're still in such a bad position right now. This Phantom Assassin, well, he's working his way towards the shard, so if you get the Fan of Knives, then you are going to have that break to work with, so that could certainly help out, make the Bristleback a little bit less just straight up terrifying for them, but your PA doesn't really have a crazy amount of either damage or durability. It's really just that BKB to sort of protect her as Scourge. He's going to get himself jumped in on. Giant is going to be here to help out, though, and Monkeys really doesn't feel like he can do this, but now Scourge wants back in with that Warpath sort of stacking up as well. He's just going to go all the way in here. Monkeys needs to be very careful. Annihilate and Jubei, though, are going to be here to help him, and Giant, man, he's really not on point with those sharpshooters today, but they're still looking for it. They go in for the Bushwhack. That one connects. Monkeys will be taken down. Annihilate, valiant effort to try and get in there, unable to save his teammate, but now he's got to worry about himself. He's just getting absolutely annihilated, but Scourge hit up by the Shackle as well as the Phantom Knife, so that does break him momentarily, but it's still not enough to bring him down. Oh my god. Jube's just gone. Boris is going to be falling here as well. That's everything. Everything and everyone. Triple kill for Scourge. Full 5-man wipe. I don't think they lost a hero on the side of the cut. No, they didn't.
They didn't, and this was the Void Spirit getting his Aghanim Scepter as well, so Jubei, he just sat there silent pretty much the entire time. Scourge as well, he ate 2 Vessel Charges and ate the entire duration. He ate a Fan of Knives as well, but it feels like they have just lost their timing. You got that Fan of Knives right before the skirmish really broke out, so you were able to break that Bristleback with the Spirit Vessel going on him, but before you have that next item after BKB, this PA does not have the damage. She does not have the levels. She doesn't have that level 20 talent. So even though I see the Corrosive Haze get put onto Scourge, I see him go from 15 plus 22 to 15 plus 7. The way he's itemized, he's ahead of the curve. The only way that they kill him really is if they jump absolutely everything and really the cut catch him off guard. Because now you've got the Sword Crest on Giant, you've got this Aghanim Scepter to throw a wrench to the works, and it feels like if they ever mess up that initiation, they should really not be killing Scourge. They should be trying to kill their teammates, and they fell into the trap where we gotta kill the monster, we gotta get him out of here. If we can kill him, the fight's so easy, but you fail killing him, and Monkeys goes down again. And Red 2, this is, I think, the best performance we've seen of him the entire tournament.
Absolutely. He's been inconsistent for them to this point. The times where he has sort of played, he's been sort of swapping out with Wage once or twice, but this is absolutely fantastic for him. He's 10-0 on this Void Spirit, and as you said for Scourge, if there is sort of one phrase for the cut here, or at least for Scourge to sum this up, it's the phrase, I don't care. Anything they throw at him, as you said, they got the Fan of Knives, doesn't care. Hit him up with the Spirit Vessel, he does not care. Anything that you do to this Bristleback, he just keeps on charging forward. He doesn't even have any magic immunity even. There's no real defensive item here. He's just so tanky that he does not have to give...
Ooh, Boris? Oh, you gotta be so careful. And you look at Boris, he's got, I don't know if this is a joke, but he has a Crystallis queued up. He feels so desperate. I mean, I wouldn't even be surprised if I saw him buy it, because at this point now, you're going to get another Aegis into the hand of Scourge. We'll see if he gives the shard to someone else, or if he takes it, because then you're going to have the Hairball. Then you're going to have even more stacks on you. And this Roche is so fast.
TOOBASED.
Oh
no,
my goodness.
It's too late. They're going to try, but this is not what they want. They need to just get themselves out of here. Can they actually make it away, though?
Ooh,
well, the Abba can't.
Jubei.
He does have his
The
ult.
break.
Nope, he didn't actually pop it. He was sitting inside of that Toxin, would have had to pop it manually, unable to do so, and now Monkeys is on the run as well. He's trying to hide in the woods, but Tingle spotted him.
Oh, no. He could just TP out if he stays a little bit too long, though. Ooh.
He's looking for the blink.
Nice
though,
blink.
Yeah, there we go. Uh-oh, Tingle? No cancel. Should be fine. But playing with fire there, if you're Monkeys, he just sort of waits, not quite for too long, though, as he was able to get away, but making me nervous on that play. But Monkeys falls back. The problem is, if you're the cut, again, whatever. I mean, yeah, 4 heroes get away, but you've got Aegis Cheese and an Aghanim Shard in your hands again, so they're just going to push their way forward. And
Oh,
look
Monkeys, look at him go. Oh,
the health,
geez.
it's just chunking away.
Wait, and Boris died bottom without using roll or anything. And I wasn't going to mention it, but look at Pingu. Pingu's got so much farm on this. He's got Boots of Travel, Ghost Scepter, Plate Mail. This just feels like TOOBASED are not playing Dota right now. It feels like they're just taking all of the aggression from the cut and losing on every single account. This is so uncharacteristic from them, but they really are losing absolutely everywhere.
There's just no reprieve, no respite, no mercy coming out here as the cut just keep on surging their way forward. And you sort of mentioned that Pingu getting farmed up as well. You look at Giant, he's got the Solar Crest and a Ghost Scepter. He's working his way towards a Yule, so
9
even
stacks.
the supports are farmed up as Tingle wants in on the Monkeys, blinks forward to get that first hit, and the roll up is now going to let him change direction. Monkeys still just dancing around it, but here comes Giant into the fight. But Monkeys actually, he blinks away, he'll be fine. But yeah, well, all that's going down. Middle lane of Rax, goodbye. No chance to stop this. Boris is still dead, so that is the full lane of Rax taken, and now Red 2, that's pretty aggressive. They want in for it.
They've got one chance. If they don't win this next fight, it's over. Boris has the Divine Rapier queued up. This is just, I don't know. I really don't know. We've seen this happen with TOOBASED as well, where they sort of just stop playing Dota, but this is just so weird.
It's an absolutely dominant showing here for the cut in this first game, and at this point, it would be a throw for the ages if they somehow sort of blow this one. So feels like they've really got everything that they need to close it out, as Scourge is going to make his way top, still sitting on the Aegis for 2.5. So if you're TOOBASED, you have to try something, right? You got to go in at some point, but where is that opportunity? They're looking for it now. Jumping in, they're going to blow up Giant. No, they're not dead yet. There we go. They are going to be able to bring him down, but Giant will buy back. The Abba, meanwhile, gets taken down. His buyback currently unavailable, and this is not going to go well. Flea gets sort of picked off as well, and the Monkeys is now going to get run down outside of the base. It's just all falling apart. Monkeys will go down. Phantom Assassin dies mid as well, and there it is. The GG will be deployed in the cut. I mean, where has this been? Where the hell was this during the group stage? They looked incredible in this first match.
They hit all of their timings. They sort of bided their time. They let TOOBASED do what they wanted for the longest time. And again, TOOBASED, their game plan was extend the landing phase, keep our tier 1 towers alive as long as possible, and then cut, flip the script. They got their Yule Scepter, they got their Ags, they got their Blink Dagger pretty much all at the same time, and then it felt like almost a 4 Zoomers game where they hit that timing and then they exploded out onto the map. In two-based, it felt like the 1-2 pickoffs that they were giving up. Okay, sure, that's fine. We're still finishing up our items. We're sort of want this to happen. We're going to keep on waiting and waiting and waiting. And oh, we're dying and dying and dying. And then the game just snowballed out of control. And I mean, going into game two, I think two based, you need to respect your opponents a little bit more here because the cut, they just worked you. They worked you in pretty much every single aspect. Annihilate owned mid. He was doing really well for himself. Red 2 didn't have a game. He was sort of playing second fiddle to Tingle King. All of his rotations weren't working out. And then it didn't matter because they got their gold through the kills and then they just waited way too long. Where two based, I feel like there was no counterplay pretty much ever. They sat in their lanes for way too long, and I mean the cut were there with the punish.
Just a very sort of far cry from what we saw the last time these two teams faced off in that group stage series. Game 1 was like 49 minutes, game 2 was 65. So to a certain extent, I was kind of expecting maybe more of the same here, but the cut very much looking to sort of speed up that timetable. They get in with almost the perfect sort of performance. And actually, you take a look, I mean, the core trio here, no deaths on any of them. Scourge, Red 2, Tingle King, 0 deaths combined. So I mean, if you can swing something like that your way, it's almost impossible to lose that game. And the cut really just sort of feeling themselves right now. We mentioned it's playoff time. We've got elimination matches coming up. Will that sort of bring out the best in these squads? Certainly appeared to do so for the cut. They were just playing on a level we hadn't seen before from them.
Yeah, if they can keep this up, this is going to be a convincing win. I don't want to say it's going to be a convincing win. I think two base, they were one of the two teams that were able to take games off of Undying. So this is just completely out of left field. This performance is so unlike them.
Yeah, I mean, everybody has a bad game every once in a while, I suppose. Two based as a team sort of having a bad game there, but they need to recover now. Game 1 loss was going to hit them hard. They get absolutely sort of sideswiped by their opponents, and now they need to respond. But game 2 is going to give them the opportunity to do that. We'll see what it is they put together, what adjustments they try to make here lineup-wise to fight their way back into it. So we're going to be hopping into a bit of a break here, but when we return, it'll be game 2 of Series 2 of the day. We'll see Simply 2 Base in the cut go up one more time. We'll see if the cut can get that clean 2-0, or if Simply 2 Base are going to be able to take us to our first actual 3-game series of the playoffs so far. So stick around, and we'll be coming your way in just a little bit.